The Last House ending explained. What was really outside the house? Warning, spoiler warning before we begin. This video contains major spoilers for Netflix's sci-fi thriller The Last House. We'll explain the ending, reveal what was really outside the house, discuss the mysterious creatures, the endless rain, and the deeper meaning behind one of Netflix's most ambiguous sci-fi thrillers. With that said, let's get started. When The Last House begins, it feels like a simple survival story. A family wakes up one day only to discover they can't leave their own home. The doors won't open, the outside world has become deadly. An endless rain falls without stopping, and strange creatures seem to be lurking beyond the walls. As the days become months and the months become years, the house that once protected them slowly transforms into a prison. By the end of the movie, the family finally escapes, but the ending raises even more questions. What was really outside the house? Were the creatures aliens? Why were they trapped? And why did everything suddenly change at the very end? Let's break it all down. Why couldn't the family leave the house? The mystery begins almost immediately. Jason, Riley, and their children discover that leaving the house is impossible. Every attempt ends the same way. Doors refuse to open, windows won't help. The mysterious rain outside hides an invisible force that prevents anyone from escaping. At first, the family believes it's temporary. Surely help will arrive. Surely someone will explain what's happening. But days become weeks, weeks become months. Eventually, years pass. Instead of searching for answers, the family focuses on survival. Food becomes scarce, electricity disappears, the house slowly begins falling apart. And the greatest enemy isn't always outside. Sometimes it's hopelessness itself. What was really outside the house? For most of the film, the threat remains invisible. That's one reason the mystery feels so unsettling. The audience imagines something far worse than anything shown on screen. Eventually, the movie finally reveals the truth. The creatures are alien beings. Their bodies appear to be made from salt water, giving them an eerie, constantly shifting appearance. They're unlike anything humans have encountered before. However, the film deliberately avoids explaining their origin. We never learn where they came from, why they arrived on Earth, why they trapped families inside their homes, or what their ultimate goal actually is. Unlike many science fiction movies, The Last House isn't interested in detailed alien mythology. The creatures exist more as a mysterious force than as traditional movie monsters. That ambiguity is intentional. What did the rain really mean? The rain is much more than weather. Throughout the movie, it becomes a symbol. Practically, it marks the boundary between safety and danger. The moment someone steps outside, they're entering the creature's territory. But symbolically, the rain represents fear itself. It's always there, always falling, always reminding the family that freedom remains just out of reach. Just as importantly, the rain slowly destroys the house. Roofs leak, walls weaken, resources disappear. The family's safe place gradually falls apart around them. Their shelter and their prison become the same place. Why didn't they leave earlier? Many viewers ask the obvious question: why didn't the family simply run? The answer isn't as simple as fear. At first, they genuinely believe the crisis will end. Like many disasters, people expect normal life to return. Then, as time passes, the unknown becomes even more terrifying. Without information, every decision feels dangerous. The family begins adapting to confinement. Routine replaces freedom. Hope becomes survival. The psychological effects are enormous. Isolation changes everyone differently. Some become stronger, others lose hope. Some struggle to trust each other, others desperately hold the family together. Much like the COVID pandemic that inspired many comparisons, the film explores how prolonged isolation slowly reshapes people's minds. Are the creatures really real? Now comes one of the movie's biggest debates. The simple answer is yes. By the ending, the film clearly shows physical alien creatures attacking the house. Jason fights one directly. The creatures bleed, they interact with the environment, they're not simply hallucinations. However, that doesn't mean they're only literal monsters. They also function as symbols. The creatures represent everything the family fears: isolation, despair, the unknown, the loss of control. So while the aliens are physically real within the story, they also carry a deeper emotional meaning. That's one reason the ending works on two different levels. What happens during the ending? As supplies disappear, the family's situation becomes desperate. Their home, already weakened by years of relentless rain, begins collapsing around them. For the first time, the creatures don't simply remain outside. They enter the house. The family has no choice. They fight. It's an intense battle for survival. For most of the confrontation, Jason believes the only solution is violence. If the creatures want to destroy his family, he must destroy them first. But then, something unexpected happens. Jason makes a choice almost no one saw coming. Instead of delivering the final blow, he shows mercy. He chooses compassion, even toward the creature trying to kill him. At first, the decision seems unbelievable. But then, the impossible happens. The alien creature stops fighting. Instead of attacking again, it responds with mercy of its own. The creature allows Jason and his family to leave. Even more surprisingly, the other creatures step aside as well. The prison that held them for years finally opens. Why did the creature spare them? The movie never says this outright, but it strongly suggests one answer. Throughout the crisis, humans mostly responded with fear, violence, survival at any cost. Jason's family does something different. They choose empathy. Perhaps they're the first humans the creatures have encountered who refuse to answer hatred with hatred. That act of compassion changes everything. Instead of seeing enemies, the creatures finally see something else: humanity. It's one of the movie's most powerful ideas. Kindness becomes stronger than violence. The hidden meaning behind the ending. If you were expecting a detailed explanation about the aliens, you may leave disappointed. Because The Last House isn't really about aliens. It's about people. The house represents safety, but it also becomes imprisonment. The creatures represent danger, but also fear. The endless rain represents uncertainty. Much like the COVID lockdowns that many viewers compared the film to. The story asks difficult questions. What happens when people lose their freedom? How long can families survive isolation? Can hope survive when the future disappears? The greatest threat isn't starvation or monsters. It's losing your humanity. Jason's decision proves that survival alone isn't enough. To truly escape, the family must remember compassion, even in the darkest moment imaginable. What was really outside the house? On the surface, the answer is simple: alien creatures, relentless rain, an invisible force trapping humanity. But emotionally, something much larger waited outside: fear, isolation, the unknown. The outside world becomes a test, not simply of survival, but of character. The creatures may have trapped people physically, but fear trapped them emotionally. In the end, Jason's greatest victory isn't defeating the creature. It's refusing to become consumed by hatred. By choosing mercy instead of revenge, he reminds both the creatures and himself what it truly means to be human. Perhaps that's the real ending of The Last House. Not an alien invasion, but a story about hope surviving when everything else has fallen apart. So, what do you think? Did the creature spare Jason's family because of their compassion? Or was there another hidden reason behind the ending? Let me know your theories in the comments below.